Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So I have to turn in the vehicle in like an hour. And I wanted to point out that in the interviews I did in Santa Cruz, it was apparent that people don't understand the concept of moral precision. They don't understand the need for people to agree on what morals are. They don't understand that that is what's supposed to go into the law, right? A sound agreement of what morals are. When people kind of agree, you have laws that don't make sense. When people truly agree and truly commit to being moral, that's when they would end homelessness. That's when all the hungry would be fed. That's when the system would be fair. So part of the tactic the government is using is they're terrorizing people into either being too confused about what morality is to be able to come to the conclusion that they should be moral, or making a conscious decision to be immoral. Pretty straightforward. So the rejection of universal moral law has translated into the homeless crisis, the fentanyl crisis. It's translated into the healthcare crisis and all the problems that we see around the world and including in America, right? People need to have a consensus on what the nature of morality is, and they need to follow suit. They need to commit to morally correct action. So, I'm being fumed to some degree here, downtown San Jose on Santa Clara and 1st Street. It's a little bit hard for me to articulate myself. You see over there's a homeless person was yelling at the ground for a second there. And you see that there's a need for the vice taxes and the rehabs. So when I asked that one female, if she wanted to help me organize, she didn't want to, right? Because it takes a commitment to wise moral action to do so. So our lack of a consensus on what is moral led to her lack of committing to sound action. I said, hey, the problem is that people won't help me organize to get people to pressure the government to pass a sound plan, a cost-effective plan to end homelessness. If I remember correctly, I ran some ideas by her. I said, for $30 billion, they could build 1 million units for the homeless. For $100 billion, they could build 1 million apartment units for the homeless. Okay? And so the person didn't want to help me organize, and that's part of why, that I'm not able to get the kind of numbers I need to pressure the government to do so. But again, the priorities come first, right? Righteousness is greater than wealth, and righteousness is greater than helping people who are in rebellion against God. It's important to know. So what was needed was a consensus on what the nature of morality is. What is moral? What is just? So what is it? What does it mean? What should we do? People's refusal to be moral and to come together for what is morally precise led to these problems. And again, I said that again on purpose because, the person was passing by. They didn't look like they appreciated being recorded. But again, when you're in public and someone's making a video, you can be recorded, right? It's I'm recording people randomly walking by. I'm not zooming in on one person or something. But I saw that kind of argumentative look in their eyes. So you see, there's also a lack of understanding here because people won't rally for it's morally precise. They want me to sell out, and it's unreasonable, right? If we're going to come together for a war on poverty plan, why should I have to change my religion first? Why should I have to change my sense of self first, right? That's outrageous. Can you imagine? Imagine if you're going to go to the store and you're going to buy a sandwich and they said, hey, first change your religion. That's fucking stupid. You see what I'm saying? And so it is with helping the poor. It's in everyone's best interest to help the poor, so they won't help me unless it's to do a plan that won't work and I have to change my religion first. I have to change my philosophy first and believe that I'm unimportant. That's madness. So you see, when I was talking about what was needed, okay, and you see that people didn't understand that morals are universal. That's why when they did a study and they found that moral intensity increases sound judgment, okay, how could they do that study unless the idea is universal? So what is moral intensity? It's a universal idea. It's doing what is right. It's part of being moral. It's part of the idea. So as I define morals, I said, morality is more like an objective fact than a subjective idea. Yeah, that guy over there getting really upset over there. Rather unfortunate. Okay, that they organize to kind of suppress my videos, but they don't organize to build rehabs and get that guy the help he needs and get people the help they need and to build them homes and so on and so forth. They can do the both at the same time, right? The government, the federal government cuts a check for $100 billion. That's nothing compared to the $8.4 trillion Trump added to the debt. And they could build 1 million units for the homeless nationwide. They'd pass the vice taxes and they could build, spend $4 billion or so a year building and operating rehabs here in California alone, and $36 billion across the nation. Okay, because about 1 in 9 people or so live in California. 1 in 9 people in America live in California. So notice also I'm having a little bit of trouble articulating myself, and that has to do with society's refusal to rally and be moral, right? Because people won't rally and be moral, not only did they come to the conclusion that they should persecute me, but they came to the conclusion that they shouldn't come together to help me out. You see that? And with their so-called morals, which isn't really morals, right? There needs to be a different word for what is universally moral and what people's local conception of morality is. For example, just like my top martial arts challenge, right? There's one top martial artist, he who is the best at sparring and who's the best fair in a way that's fair and square, right? Didn't cheat anybody, didn't sabotage anybody, didn't benefit from generational ill-gotten gains, what have you. But then when we're talking about specific martial arts, like being the top samurai following that code, that's for that specific group, right? So there's one top martial artist, just like there's one idea of morality. The other ones are just specific to those groupings, and there should be separate words. And the fact that there's not separate words, I had to kind of argue semantics with the person instead of saying, hey, you know what morals are? Everyone knows what morals are. There's one universal idea. And when people pretend that, hey, that person thinks that's moral, no, it's you don't kill for no reason, you don't steal for no reason, you don't rape, you don't exploit people. This is just universal morals. How could it be any different? How could I be mistaken about this? So people's refusal to rally for what is precisely moral directly translates into human suffering that is preventable. Preventable deaths, drug overdoses, high crime. Their refusal to rally and insist on cost-effective and efficient programs to solve societal ills creates societal ills. One who's slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. One who refuses to define morality correctly is brother to one who destroys.